Hello, hello. Welcome back. Um, I'm streaming again this glorious, glorious Sunday. Coming back, trying to learn Swift and um, making a new version of my former app that I built in Objective-C. So yeah, and also testing new streaming setup. Um, So it will be fun. For example, I see that maybe this learning Swift banner is not that useful there. Nope, nope, no, 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 no good place for it. Yeah, let's hide it. Here we go. So my comments don't work on Twitch. So if you, sorry, on they should work on Twitch. They don't work on Twitter. So I don't see Twitter comments. So if you are coming to me on Twitter, which the only place people know me is probably Twitter, if anywhere, um, uh, chat in YouTube comments. Chat is in YouTube comments. There you go. Tweet. Okay. So hopefully the YouTube version works. Let me mute everything and see if anything works. Hello there, friends. Спасибо. My beautiful son brought me tea, which is very greatly appreciated. Maybe he can tune in just to keep me company. Okay, so looks like these two work fine. Okay, let's get back to coding. So yesterday I managed to finish the piece where my app actually brings up the email client. Unfortunately, neither simulator nor the preview actually show that. So if I click here in preview, this sheet, which is the UI that pops up from the bottom, like that's how it's called, will show this kind of message. And that applies to all the devices that don't have ability to send email, either because email is not configured or some other way, right? So I managed yesterday, based on our same file, nice. Based on our research and learning from, what's his name? Sorry, learning from Hacking with iOS, Paul Hudson. We were watching Paul Hudson explain similar problem of using native interfaces, right? Like he was showing the image picker, but we were using the email picker, but the analogy was pretty close. And effectively, this mail sender, you need to check if mail sender can send email. Well, we actually wrote the mail sender, which is right here. Yeah. And the mail sender can send email basically calls this classic UI kit view. As I learned, there is old UI kit, and that's what I used in the past. And there is a Swift UI, which is the new way of using UI. And we wrote this bridge component, I would say, that uses the coordinator class to coordinate between the two? Well, first of all, it is what is it? Yeah, it's a controller delegate. That's what coordinator class is used for, right? So coordinator is the concept from SwiftUI, kind of specifically to work as a delegate, right? And delegate is how you did it in the past, effectively a component that reacts to the native component, kind of talks to native component. So yeah, and you see we are making the coordinator, calling coordinator, and that coordinator has one unused method, which is update controller, UI view controller, and another one make UI view controller. And this is the main one where we pass in all the information. Off stream, I actually moved these fields to be the state object, state properties. Yesterday after the stream, I spent a little bit of time coding. And what else did I do here? And I made this method, which effectively you can now call from the main view to know whatever you can send mail or not. And if you can, then we create mail sender UI, passing in all of that information, email, subject, and body, which currently are hard coded right here. And today we will try to make another view, I guess, to do what in that view? In that view, we will set these values, right? Make it rememberable, right? Like configuration view, basically, right? Oh yeah. Also, I added two previews, one in light mode and another in dark mode. Apparently, you can create multiple preview objects because you control. This is like preview provider is what does it. And as you can see, I have this switch between light mode and dark mode, which is basically rendering my application here, right? And in light mode, it looks like this. And by the way, I hope you can see it. Yeah, I can drag. Also, I noticed yesterday during the stream, we couldn't see the overlays, right? Like all of the drop downs and things like that. That's unfortunate problem with streaming when you try to stream a window, mostly in all applications. Therefore, I moved my setup so to my laptop screen where like I'm basically sharing the whole laptop screen. So yeah, so you can see my toolbar, right? Like you can see everything on my screen. Therefore, all of the overlays and everything will show up here, right? Maybe I should do the same with simulators. So when I use a simulator, this is the iOS simulator, right? This is basically like that, right? Full-blown phone with couple. Actually, you see, I have couple other apps. This is a dev version. This is the old version, which I should delete. Remove app, delete app, delete. Yeah, I also renamed my app in the settings. Let's, I guess, minimize this. No? Yeah, yes. I renamed my app in the setting not to conflict with my main app, the previous version of the app written in Objective-C, which has a production ID, right? Like, how is it called? Not ID. Let's take a look. It is called bundle identifier. You see, and I have like -dev, and that's my development version here, while my production has just note to self attached to the end of it. Because I basically nuked my app on the phone as I was deploying the development version. It will be released as part of that app. So I actually configured my GitHub repo, and for those of you who are familiar with Git, I basically created a new branch, Swift Rewrite, and Yeah, and I'll be. Did I git push? Did I push? Yeah, and I actually pushed to GitHub to my GitHub repo. Um, I probably will. I think this is safe, but I'll need to double check. I'll probably will make an open source and make this. I don't know if I can make this app free. Actually, that I do not know. But right now it's like $3, and I think right now it's unlisted, right? Like so. Well, let's go to the browser. If we go to my website and looked at the app in the App Store, uh, open App Store. Oh, it's a wrong App Store, right? Okay. Yeah, but it tells me that the app is unlisted. Yeah. And that's because I did not maintain it well, right? So I basically had to give up my. By the way, this is the series by Paul Hudson, which I'm watching. I actually have the full. I will be watching. I actually have the full 100 days of Swift, uh, which I might follow. It is 100 days though, so it's a little bit of a commitment. Um, but just for fun, maybe I will do it. Maybe I will do it. During breakfast, one video per day. How much time that is? Let's take a look. How many videos per day? Uh, um, hmm, hmm, hmm. I assume he did videos for every day, right? Let's take a look. Day two. Or maybe he didn't. Actually, let's take a look. I thought there was like a playlist. Oh, well, this was. Oh, come on. Two Straws is his username, I assume. Come on, come on, come on. Why is it so hard to see the freaking playlist? I thought I found his playlist. Yeah, I think it's under his name. Let's take a look. There you go. Hacking with iOS, SwiftUI edition. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Um, is this the 100 days though? I'm not positive. Maybe videos are not forever. Anyhow, I'll figure it out. My point is, I'll probably watch some of these, like just for fun, but maybe we'll just navigate there and take a look. So um, yeah, I definitely might enjoy reading this stuff about the language itself, then um, Swift UI part, right? Uh, expand my skills, maybe. Now, well, let's put that aside. So back to our coding, right? So effectively now we have couple tasks. The first task is we need to create another view, right? And that view is going to be the settings view, right? And that settings view will set these values, right? Mm, yeah, I would assume so. I do not know how to navigate from one view to another, so we might need to watch the video. But first, we will start by doing Command N. That's the usual shortcut for new window. So new file, so new Swift file, right? Mm, oh, Swift UI view. Here we go. next, and we'll call it email or just settings view, right? They call it view, we'll do that. Okay, settings view. We'll copy the preview. Oh, they made the preview provider already. Let's copy our magical dark light setup from the other one, right? Basically like that, but we will use the new views name, just a preview, right? There we go. Light mode, dark mode, perfect. We'll probably have the title, right? By the way, what is that I can add here? Can I do some bar of some kind? Bar, if I say bar, nope. Navigation link, navigation view. What is navigation view? Can you see all of that? Yeah, you can see it. Awesome. I do need to increase the font on it. Let's see if I can do that. Command plus. Nope, Command plus just changes that thing. And that window just disappeared. There you go. Navigation link. Navigation view. What are they making it for? Who are they making it for? Are they making it for... Wait a second. Those are settings, or what is it? Modifiers. Oh, these are modifiers. Got it. These are code snippets. These are media library, color library, and symbols. Okay, we don't need modifiers. We need the navigation itself, right? So I hope this will be like this view that comes out, and then you can come back in, right? So navigation view has navigation link, right? So let's use that. Right, so navigation view, this will be content of this, right? Navigation link, destination. The destination will be our content view, right? And content of that link will be send, no, it will be a string, text that will say send email, right? Let's collapse this real quick. Yeah. So what is it complaining about? Content view cannot conform. Is that I need to do this? No. Okay. Looks like we need to learn about navigation view. The good news is that navigation link, I should probably do this. This is just not great. Not great. There are a few things that bother me. And that is XCode, like formatting. So let's see, a navigation link. Navigation link, destination, folder list, blah, blah, blah. What is folder list? Navigation link to present a view inside navigation window. Use a label to display a link. Right, and today it says send email. It says send email, okay. Okay, you know what? Before we do navigation view, let's just do a regular view, right? And we'll say we need the form elements, right? Form. Okay. Form is something we can insert here. That's good news. Okay, good. And it just takes a little while to recompile and display the new updates. Okay, so now form, horizontal stack, control group. This looks somewhat familiar. Spacer, grid. None of these. Lazy vertical grid. No, we just need a regular vertical stack here, right? And we need to add a form item. So input, or is it field? Yeah, text field. Here we go. Included in the wrong place, but text field. This will be placeholder. This will be our email, basically, right? John, no, not like that. John.smith@example.com, right? Above that, we'll say label, and it will be email. What label cannot be? Okay, let's say text. Like that. Can we do that? No. How can we make a text field? Label. Let's call it. Well, let's delete this label first. Come on. Can I dismiss errors simply? No, I cannot. They are hovering thingies. Tooltips, right? Email. What are the errors here? Can convert of type string to expected argument type binding. Okay, bindings we knew. It's binding var email colon string, right? And I assume this will be $email, right? Or is that how we did it before? Bindings, where are our bindings? Or are they states? No, they were states. State. And string is question mark, right? Result cannot declare what? Result builder? What's going on here? Variable name equals quote quote. Right? No, it should be nilable. Is that how it should be? No. I do not understand this. Settings use just SwiftUI like any other UI, right? And we adjust say state, var, and name. Can we do this? Equal blah. Local wrapped and let's Google for it. Let's Google. What do we do when we don't know, right? Let's do that. Oh. Basically, if you look here, this variable is declared outside the property, not within the closure. Yep. And those are like young person's problems. String question mark, right? So email. This is placeholder, right? What is the problem here? Can we convert binding string to binding string? Okay, makes sense. What about now? Exclamation point. Nope. Let's take a look. Let's copy this message, right, and Google for that instead. Something to do with these bindings, with like nullable values, all of that. I do not understand that. So let's go first Google for it, and maybe we'll have to watch the video together. Yeah, there you go. So nice. It's actually describing the same thing. Text name, same thing as we do, right? To fix the problem, make sure the property is marked as state like this. Now create a component using a two-way binding like this. Okay, we need a two-way binding, $. And what do we need? The initial value of nothing? Well, technically we don't need this anymore because it's question mark, right? And private. Well, we might not need it to be private. For now, it will be like this. Nice. And this is the field now. And person like myself can type Sergey at gmail.com. At gmail.com. Okay, by the way, does text field have a modifier? Dot email. No, dot. I'm looking for some kind of formatter. accessibility something 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 badge blur. I can probably list like that forever, right? So at least we fixed this problem, right? Let's add a label or text field, text email. What's up with our app? Okay, first of all, let's stop our debugger from running. We don't need that. Oh, and I forgot to switch to our code. Here we go. I'm back to our code. Yep. Okay. I don't think that's how this works. Alignment left. Right? Will this work if I do that? Multi-line text alignment. That's not what I needed. I guess it's spacer. It has to be to the left. No, that shouldn't be like that. Okay, I think this guy had forms on his list, right? Forms. Nope, he didn't. What about here? If you go back to this. You see, I'm learning the very basics, very basics. So if you have forms on this list, setting data, maybe input fields. Okay, let's start with this one. I'll switch over to our video and we'll learn together. Did it work?
You've already seen how SwiftUI's at-state property wrapper let us work with local value types, and also how at-state object let us work with shareable reference types like classes. Well, there's a third option called at-binding, which lets us share some local data with another view.
Let's watch.
If we had a toggle switch, we want to send in some kind of Boolean property that can be changed in this toggle switch. For example, if I said in here, there is a at-state private var remember me is false, local state to us. I might say inside the body, there's a toggle switch, this text of remember me and is on bound to $remember me. So toggle, this view here, has to be able to change our Boolean when the user interacts with it. But how does it remember what value should be changed? Right? It hasn't got its own local state inside a toggle. It's changing the external remember me Boolean. This is where the at-binding property wrapper comes in. It lets us store a mutable value in a view that actually points to some other value from elsewhere. In the case of toggle, what we're saying is the switch changes its own local binding to a Boolean. But behind the scenes, that local binding is actually manipulating the state property inside our view. It's external, really. This makes the at-binding property wrapper extremely important whenever you want to make any kind of custom user interface component. At their core, these UI components are just SwiftUI views like everything else. Toggle isn't special, but at-binding sets them apart. While they might have their own local at-state properties, of course they can do that, they can also expose at-binding properties that let them interface directly with other views to share the data.
Okay.
To demonstrate this, we're going to look at the kind of code it takes to create a custom kind of button that'll stay down when pressed. Our basic implementation will all be stuff you've seen before. It'll be a button with some padding, plus a linear gradient for the background and more, capital click, for example. So we'll say, and a new structure up here, called a push button, which is a view. It needs a title string, and at state var is on. Cool. Am I down right now or not? We'll say there are on colors, which will be an array of color.red and color.yellow, and then off colors, which will be an array of color. I'll use white 0.6, so medium-ish gray, and color white 0.4, so slightly darker gray. White 1 means fully white, and white 0 means fully black. We'll have a body, and this will draw our button. with that title, and we'll call isOn.toggle when it's pressed. Let's add some modifiers, so a little bit of padding. We'll do a background, and I'll draw in the background a linear gradient. We'll say linear gradient with the gradient of, let's just do colors, perhaps colors of, if we are on right now, being held down right now, then we'll say on colors. If we're not, we'll say off colors, so it'll be one of two gradients. Start point on top and endpoint dot bottom. And then we'll do a foreground color of white, and then a clip shape of capsule, and then a little shadow as well. So the radius of if we are on, 0, otherwise. Okay, that's our example little view here. The only really vaguely exciting things is that I'm using properties for the gradient colors. So you customize them if you want to. Anyway, we can
that was quick.
Inside our content.
You know, he learned a lot.
This remember me thing here.
He taught me a lot. I'm kidding.
Our body has a VStack with our push button. Title remember me is on will be remember me. And then text, if remember me is true, we'll do on, otherwise we'll do off. That is our view. So the text view below the push button, specifically so we can track the state of the button externally. We know the current value of remember me up here. So go ahead and press Command R to build and run your code in the simulator. Give it a try with the real running app and see what you think. Hopefully, if you find our button goes in and out correctly, let's find out. Hopefully. Any second now.
Time to drink some tea.
Almost there.
Okay, that's a challenge of learning on the stream, right? Like to watch things, you need to watch.
Going up and down, which is what we want. But notice how the button works fine, but off is always here. It never goes to on. So if Boolean's toggling, this thing down here is not toggling. Clearly, something's changing because the button's changing color, but it's not being reflected in content. What's happening here is we've made a one-way flow of data. Content view has remember me as a Boolean. It gets you to create the push button right here, has initial value right by content view. That's this thing right here. However, once the button is created, it has its own state. It's stored in at state.
Yeah, makes sense.
What it means is, yeah, its toggling is on true and false internally, but it doesn't pass that back up to content view. This is the problem, because now we have two sources of truth. Content view has its data, one value here, and push button has another value here. The two independent pieces of data. That one. Come on. Clearly you want some love. Two independent pieces of data, right? That's not great. What we want to have really is when push button changes, they like you too. When push button changes, it shouldn't change its local state, it should change the other state, the external state. And so we're going to switch over to binding. That's the job of binding, to have shared state from somewhere else. So we'll say in our push button, not at state, but at binding. Now it's external state, not local state. And then over in content view, we don't say remember me anymore. It's a binding now. We say $remember me.
Okay. Let's do the same. Let's start with doing the same, right? We'll say $email. No, that's not the case. Okay, let's watch more. Well, let's call ours binding as well. Nope. Yeah, that's not binding. This is state. The outer class we have is uses the state. It's this text field that needs a binding, and we did pass a binding into it. Okay. So if I type it here, right, that value in this view should be changing. So basically, if we say text email, this should match the email. Correct or not? So yeah, there you go. So as we change the field, the input field, this thing changes as well. Can I increase it a little? Yeah, that's probably better. Can you see that better? You can. Awesome. Sounds good. Let's keep listening to the guy to Paul. I shouldn't call him a guy. To Paul, right? Is that his name? Paul. Yes, Paul. To to hear some
binding
other
itself into
tidbits.
there, not the Boolean value inside it, not the initial value. And now I can see you just fine. Now run the code again. Running make a quick scratch. Now run it again, and what we'll find is, yeah, we can still change the button, but now on and off
There
changes
you
as well.
go.
The code works as expected. So the button's changing its own value that really belongs somewhere else. The external state is changing at the same time. And so they both change now. And that's the power of binding. As far as the button's concerned, it's just toggling a Boolean. That bit of code hasn't changed. It has no idea that something else owns that Boolean and is monitoring it and acting upon changes. Don't you agree, Arya? And that binding great, eh?
Okay. Yeah, accepting multi-line text with text editor. Let's do that. Let's see what it has to say. And especially because we actually need a text field for the body.
Text field view several times already. And it's great for places where you want small amounts of text input from the user. However, for longer strings, you're going to want to use a different view called text editor. It works very, very similarly. It also expects a two-way binding to a text string that now has the additional benefit of allowing multiple lines of text. But it's much better for accepting longer strings from the user. Now, mostly because it has nothing special in the way of configuration options, text editor is actually easier than text field. You just give it a string. You know, there's no style option to care about, and there's no placeholder text to work with. Just say here's a binding to a string. However, you do need to be careful to use it with a form or a navigation view to make sure it doesn't escape the safe area by accident. Otherwise, it's very, very hard to type into. For example, we can make the world's simplest notes app using app storage and text editor. We can say there's a property in here called app storage.
Okay.
Notes, private var notes, empty string. And then our navigation view here, we'll say the text editor, the text of our notes, and then a title of notes, and then some padding like that. Let's run it back and see how it looks. Here we go with my little note editor there. I can select it and then start typing into it. I'll say the rain in Spain falls mainly on the Spaniards. And you saw there I hit the full stop. I get a line break. I get a line bounce. Now multi-line text editing as you'd expect. And of course, it'll scroll around as needed. I have a hardware keyboard enabled here, but if you want a soft keyboard, that also works. It also adapts automatically. As a warning, just so you know, app storage here is backed by user defaults, which is not designed to store private information securely. So don't store anything private or confidential using app storage.
Nice. We need that field, that very same field. So effectively, I'll switch over to the editor so you see what I'm editing. Effectively, we need a couple other variables, which we'll fill in. So email, subject, and body, right? What does it say? We're not using it. Oh, yeah. It cannot be body. It has to be email body with camel case for tradition, right? Just because it's a tradition. So we'll remove this. We'll say h stack like that. We'll move email field here, and we'll say spacer. At least that's how I understand we can align the labels, right? Yeah. And then we'll do a couple more. 1 and 2. So the second one will be subject, right? Or to do as a placeholder. Again, binding, right? And maybe we don't put any default value into it. And did I just change the wrong one? Yes. I meant to change this one and to say subject. And again, the idea of the application is that you preset email and subject and potentially body, and it will fill out your mail client to show that. I think the alignment of these fields can be done differently. We'll learn later how to do that better, but basically say here we'll say editor, right? And here we'll say body or message. Body. I don't know. Is body for the email is correct way of saying it? I don't know. And I think commas are not the right way to do that either. Again, no place. Actually, text editor does what? We don't need a placeholder, right? We just need to say text. Text, and the binding will be email body. Right? What did we do wrong? We didn't put the $sign to use the binding, right? Yay! And if you keep going, what will happen? Yeah, that's what he was talking about, right? Where this escapes us. So is he saying that wrapping that in navigation view rather than the form is a better idea, right? Navigation view. Right? So if we keep pasting out text, yeah, it's basically wrapped into this navigation view. Okay. That makes kind of sense. And the next step we want to do, instead of using the binding, we'll do app storage, which I think how storage email, app storage subject, storage email body. Save. Let's see. Right, so if you say sergey.chernyshev@gmail.com or something like that, that's not my email address. This should say subject. Huh, it did remember it. You see, it remembered the app store, the value in app storage, I think. Subject to do colon space. And the body is, we can paste that long message, right? So if we switch to light view, it should remember all of that because we did use the app storage. That's nice. So let's add some padding to this tag, padding dot all, right? Yeah, like something like that. Okay. And again, switching back to here. Yep. Email, subject, body. Okay. I kind of, so if we delete all of this, is there a way to see which is the field and which is the not a field? So if I delete, if like I do this, okay. Hopefully this works, right? Yeah, how do I have it in my app right now? Let's take a look. Unfortunately, only I can see. I couldn't figure out how to share the screen of the app with you. Okay, subject, your email address. It actually says your email address, because it's note to self, right? email address. And if I deleted, what kind of placeholder did I get? I think it was, yeah, I don't remember. Subject. Okay. And I had a message. Let's copy the application exactly. So I have another text string under it, another text under this field that says enter your email address, and note to self will automatically use it as to address when you send email. Yeah, we need to align this copy to the left, right? And so should this be a group of entries or not? Let's take a look if there is a grouping UI of some kind. Group box. That might be it. Group box label. So basically this will be our label right there. We'll remove this, move this text field into the group, right? The formatting is just killing me. Like, maybe it's just the amount of space we have. Yeah, let's hide this for a second, just so formatting is not as gnarly. Because the string confirm to view. What? What is the... Okay, we need to bring that documentation back right there. So group box. Where is our documentation? That? No. That? No. Did we lose our documentation? Group box. Really? Okay, let's search in the browser. Swift group box. Yeah, let me switch to this view a little to see stuff better. Group box. Struct group box label content. Both of them are views. So it has to be label with some text. Okay. Okay, let's try that. What is it? Label. Like that, right? We don't need the system image for the label, do we? Is it required? Label style configuration. Jesus. Okay. Comma. System image. Email? I forgot what the Swift system image names. There was a website of some kind. Apple Design Resources. System name. Come on. Is there a list of system name values? I would say that Apple's documentation can be better. SF symbols, they're called. Okay. Okay, SF symbols map. There you go. There you go. What do I need to download? Jesus. Okay, let's download it. What is it? An application to see the list of files? Can't they make a website or something? $200 megabytes. Interface guidelines, release notes. Calm, Sergey, you need to find that. This is okay. Okay. Download the app and browse the full list of symbols. Somebody needs to tell them there is such thing as a website to browse the list of symbols. Install. That's my password, folks. Don't copy that. I'm just kidding. You couldn't see that. Move to trash. Yeah, it's moved to trash. Let's open that up. Where's the app? There you go. Symbols. Hopefully that beta mark doesn't mean we cannot find the existing ones. Okay. Email. What? Mail? What's our first field? The email address, right? Address. Huh? Okay. It is literally called mail. Mail. There you go. Your email address. Maybe if I zoom out a tiny bit, there you go. And then we can have this text field under it as well. Right? That should do the trick. Yeah. And then we'll have a couple more group boxes, right? Like that. subject with system image of, we'll figure out what that is. Text field subject. Did we not use the right separator? No, we used the right separator. So let's open the glorious app and say the word subject message. Text. What looks like email subject? No, nothing. I didn't really need an icon for it. Do I need a label, or would a text field suffice? Text. Will this work? Yeah, this does not work. Well, I need another parents, right? Yeah. Subject. Does that look like yeah, it does. So we didn't need all the labels, folks. It was useful but unnecessary for us. Like that, right? Subject and another group box with the word body, like that. And closing bracket. Not the subject field though, like that, right? Yeah, this doesn't look very good. What do I have as a message under the subject? Enter the, I have a similar message under the subject. Let's copy that. Enter subject line. Subject line. Line to set automatically for emails, e.g. code to do colon quote or idea period. You will be able to change it if you'd like. You will be able to change it if you'd like. I don't think we need periods in this descriptive text, right? Okay, I can't say I like the overall shape of these boxes, but you know, it kind of is okay. Maybe we shouldn't do it like this, but that's normal. In the navigation view, by the way, we can say navigation link and destination, label, Okay, we don't know how to do navigation link yet. Right? The good news is that these values now are stored in app storage, right? So if you say Sergey at gmail.com, and switch to subject to say to do, and to body to say blah, blah, blah. I probably should move these out of the groups. They just don't look right. They kind of are more of informational messages. Like that, right? The good news is that the values are being preserved, right? Because they are, when we reload this, they're preserved. So if I, yeah, I don't want to do that. Actually, let's try and launch it in what is it? Preview, simulator. Where is it? Where did it go? There you are. Right? Well, that didn't. We don't know how to navigate to it yet. Right? Okay, then we don't need to worry about it yet. Is that so, or is that not? I don't know. But I wonder how, if we should probably do the same effectively in our content view for emails and stuff, right? So if we say like that, right? And we say we remove all of this effectively, right? Or maybe we define the default. No, we don't define the default, right? Like we just do this. Right? And we use dollar signs in here. Subject, body. No, we don't pass them, right? Email body. Let's format them in the best possible way. Something like that. Can't convert email to type binding string to expected type string. Use wrapped value instead. Remove dollar. Okay, that kind of makes sense because we don't want that to be controlled back. You just want to use those values from here in here, right? So let's reload this preview. I wonder, yeah, that would not do us anything. So how do we navigate from one view to another? Let's close this, this, and this, and look at his, learn Don't panic. Does it have a video so we don't panic? No, it doesn't. Okay, back to our explorations. And this does not have a playlist next to it. No, it doesn't. Okay, at least we learned something here. We can click back and go to the playlist, I hope. I forgot to switch to that screen. I'm talking to myself. There you go. So navigation bar. Okay.
If we ask
Let's
for it,
see
iOS
that.
lets us place content anywhere on the screen, including at the top below the system clock, and even at the bottom below the home indicator.
Okay.
This does not look great, which is why by default SwiftUI restricts us to a rectangular area that does not overlap any part of the system UI or get clipped by curved devices like the iPhone 13.
I
An
agree.
area called the safe area.
I
We can see
agree.
in action if we wrap our text in a form and then a section. I'll just push it on in there and get rid of the padding like that. A simple layout. I'll press Command R to build and run our code. And you'll see the same thing we had in our Canvas preview, hello world like that, but now it's interactive.
Form and section.
Just pull it down as with my finger scrolling up.
So maybe we used the wrong thing, right? Form and section. Okay.
But as I scroll up, it goes off the screen. And notice how partway it actually overlaps the clock up here. You can't really see what it says anymore, it's pretty ugly. So it's mostly fine. It starts in the safe area, which is great. But as you scroll around, it starts to overlap system UI, which is less great. And a common way of fixing this is with the navigation bar at the top. So that the form will scroll below the navigation bar without touching system UI. And it's actually fairly easy to do in system UI. You've seen how we have our text view here, wrapped inside a section, wrapped inside a form. Well, we can just wrap that whole thing inside a navigation view, which provides us a navigation bar plus the ability to show new screens and hide screens later on. We're not going to cover that here. What we care about for now is navigation views. Let us add a nice space at the top like this. Here's my preview updating now. Bang. Nice big gray area at the top of the screen. That's our navigation bar in action. It looks fine. Obviously, it looks better with the title at the top, and we can do that by adding a modifier to our form. We can say I want to have this thing have a navigation title of SwiftUI, like that. And now update, bang. Nice big chunky SwiftUI font. Now, what's happening here is it is now wrapping our whole form with this title. So when it appears in any navigation view in any part of a program, it'll have that title attached to it. Make sure you attach it to the form and not to the navigation view itself. It belongs to the form, the thing inside the view. Now, when you add a title like this, you can see you get a lovely big chunky iOS style font. If you want, you can get a smaller font with a different modifier. That is navigation bar title display mode. And you can just say dot inline. I should say, by the way, XCode has fuzzy code completion. So if I do nav title, I can just choose the right one very quickly. Anyway, dot inline is what you want, and you'll get this different style of font here, much smaller, much more compact. If you want to see which to use and when, look at an app-like settings. You'll normally see the big chunky font on the initial screen for an app, and then the smaller font on all subsequent screens.
Okay, let's copy that because this seems like this is how you do it. And we just learned. Nice. Anyhow, settings view. So we did use navigation view. Then instead of vstack, we should have used the form. And instead of group box, we should have used section. Yeah, and that section doesn't need a constructor or whatever we call that. And it can just do like this, right? Not form, but form. Okay, form. Looks like we had some padding that we don't need anymore because there is a form, right? And the section, and another section. Like that, right? And as we type here, blah, 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 copy, next line, C command V. Come on, I cannot do that? I thought I can. No, I can do that. Yeah, that formats it. Okay, nice. Yeah, it basically goes all the way to the bottom. But is that what we wanted? Maybe not. And maybe this should be under the fields again. And this goes back here. And in the light mode, how does it look in the light mode? Okay. And he says we can use form, right? Yeah. Dot navigation title. And that can be settings. Yep. Or email settings. Like that. And this becomes scrollable, so maybe we have to. What did he say? Was it using? Maybe it should be dot size. No, fixed size. No. Okay, maybe we don't use that. Yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit. Like that. Delete. Okay, this now looks as a field. And this now looks as a field, right? So let's compile that in our, how it's called? Simulator. And unfortunately, I forgot to keep it open, but that's okay. Looks like every time some heavy application like that starts, my cameras freeze. Okay. Sounds good. So now let's get back to that list. I said back to that list.
How SwiftUI's at-state property wrapper let us work with local value types.
Well,
and also how at-state object let us work with shareable reference types like classes. What's a third option?
Oh man, my computer is so slow. It all freezes up. And you don't see any of that, right? Because I forgot to switch to the screen.
A new protocol called UI View Controller representative. So press Command N. Make a new file. Choose a file.
Yeah, that was the hard thing we learned. The representable.
It's a treat, please.
Yeah, that's what we are looking for. So let's look for the word navigate. Navigate. Navigation link. Pushing new views into the stack. Okay, let's do that. Because this is what we need to look for, right? We need to figure out
SwiftUI's navigation view
how that is done.
At the top of our views, but it also does something else. It lets us create a stack of views we can push new ones onto. In fact, this is the most common form of navigation in iOS. You'll see it in places like the Settings app, where you press General or Wi-Fi and a new view slides in, or in the Messages app, where you can tap someone's name to bring up their messages. Now, this view stack system is very different from the sheets we've used previously. Yes, they both show some kind of new view, but the way they show them is very different. And that presentation affects the way the users think about them. Let's start looking at some code so you can see for yourself. If we wrap out a default text view with navigation view, like this, and then you got a title like this, SwiftUI, we're going to see our text in the middle saying hello world with SwiftUI and XCode as you'd expect. And this is English text hello world. That's just static text. It's not a button with any type of action attached to it. We're going to make it so when the user presses on hello world, we present a new view. And that's done with another view type called navigation link. Give this thing some kind of destination to work with, and then something inside that can be tapped, and it'll take care of the rest for us. One of the many things I love about SwiftUI is that we can use navigation link to push with any kind of destination view, including totally custom designed views. Now show this link, but also color red, or a simple text view saying placeholder, or whatever. To try it out, we're going to put around our text a navigation link. We'll pass this thing what to show when it's pressed. In our case, will be text detail view. We'll make our text hello world the label for our navigation link, like that. I'll move the title up to belong to the navigation link, basically like that. There we go. Now run the code and see what you think. You should see hello world has gone blue. It's now a button, and tapping it will bring in a new view saying detail view. Even better, our previous SwiftUI title animates down to the top left corner. You got a back button. You can tap that, or we can swipe from left to right. You go backwards like this.
This is kind of what we need, right?
There we go. So, both sheet and navigation link allow us to show a new view different from the current one, push from the current one. But the way they do so is different, and you understand them carefully so you know which one to choose. Navigation link is for showing details about something. You're digging into the topic based on the user selection. On the other hand, sheet is for showing unrelated content, like settings or a compose window. Now, the most common place you will see navigation link is with a list. And there, SwiftUI does something quite brilliant. I'm going to go ahead and wrap some of our work here in a list, 0 to 100, with a row number coming in.
Or maybe we can use a sheet, actually,
all inside that.
Which is new.
Now, keep this detail text, make it say detail for our row number, and the label will instead be row. Remove the padding like that. So I've got a list of items, and when you run this back in your simulator, you should see all items, all 100 items, in fact. It's here and can be scrolled around. They have next to them these indicators. They are inside the scroll view, sorry, inside the navigation view. As we have these indicators on the right here, the little chevrons. When you press on one of them, they will slide in the correct view for them. Now, these little chevrons, little angle bracket things, that's a standard SwiftUI, or standard iOS way, sorry, of telling users another screen will be shown when these things are tapped, when one of these rows are tapped. And SwiftUI is smart enough to know that's what should be used here. It'll adapt automatically. If you're using an iPad with SwiftUI, it won't show them. So it knows you aren't showing a new view, you're presenting a split view normally left and right. Very, very clever. If these rows weren't navigation links, if we were removing just like all this jazz here, for example, the chevrons would go away. Because tapping them does nothing anymore. So you can see in my preview, no more chevrons. It understands they should only be shown when we'll navigate to a new screen when this thing is pressed.
Okay. So let's look at the sheets. I think I know how the sheets work. Using this as with optionals.
gives us two ways of creating alerts and sheets, and so far we've mostly only used one. We've given a binding to a boolean that when it's true shows the sheet or shows the alert. The second one allows us to attach an optional to both those things as well, the alert or sheet. And we used it briefly in our little map project to present map pins. If you remember, the key is to have an optional identifiable object in your view somewhere as a condition for showing the sheet. And when that has a value, the sheet is triggered. And then the sheet modifier will actually unwrap the optional for you and hand it to your closure saying, here's the object, what do you want to do with it? So guaranteed it's not going to be nil. We're going to provide optionality, it's just a real object. To demonstrate this, we can make a simple user struct that conforms to the identifiable protocol. I could say struct user is identifiable as an ID of Taylor Swift. Like that. And now, after I give another quick treat, we could make a property inside content view. Hold on, it doesn't work. Make a property inside content view that tracks which user is selected. Set the nil by default. There's no sheet binder by default.
No, that's is there another mention of the sheet here? Nope. Maybe he used it earlier. SwiftUI tutorial. Binding state to user interface control.
SwiftUI's at-state property wrapper lets us modify properties inside our state.
You know what? Maybe we can try doing it ourselves. So we did use a sheet for somewhere over here. The sender uses a sheet, right? No, it doesn't. Okay. So I believe this has dot sheet is presented on $show settings, and that would be our, and by the way, this should be in the main view, not in here. Yeah, there we go. We have another sheet. That sheet is presented show settings, and we need showing settings. Showing settings. And this code will be, what is it? Settings view. Just like that. Right? So let's reload our preview. And this view right now, what is it? Just a navigation view, right? Okay, so this was email sheet, and we need some other button. So maybe we don't need the spacer here. We have spacer here, and we have text. Oh, this is actually a button, right? So spacer, spacer, and another button. And button will have just a text called settings, or it will actually be email, and this will say email. That's our current UI, actually, email. Missing argument for, no, we're not missing any argument, and the value we are setting is for this sheet, it's this showing settings, right? Like that, right? Or even like this, if email is equal to quote quote else, and this button will say settings. Technically, we should trigger that automatically. Button, spacer, button. Do we want the spacer here? Yeah, that's how we want it. Not equals empty. If email is not empty, we will show, and again, let's stop the controller, simulator, right? So this sends this shows settings, email, subject, body. So sergey@gmail.com. What is it? gmail.com, right? And when we minimize, this becomes here because we use the same application storage variables, right? And we could technically have them to be coming from here, right? So instead of having app storage, we can say binding email. No, let's have them separate, right? Like we don't want to, no matter where we open the settings view, it will set the settings, right? Yeah, we just want that to work anywhere. So if we click that, this will be email settings. Do we have, so if we look for Swift sheet dismiss button. How to make a view dismiss itself. Hiking with Swift. It's the same guy. Button, wrapped value, what? How to make a view dismiss itself. When you show the SwiftUI view using a sheet, it's common to want to dismiss the view when something happens, when this user taps the button, for example. That's exactly what we want, right? There are two ways to solving this in SwiftUI, and I'm going to show you both so you can decide which suits your needs. The first option is to tell the view to dismiss itself using its presentation mode environment key. And you can read its presentation mode using, oh God, this is pretty serious shit. Calling wrapped value dismiss, and that calls the view to dismiss. For example, we could create a detail. How would I ever learn that? A detail view that is able to dismiss itself using its presentation mode environment key. Yeah, basically have this piece of code, right? The other option is to pass a binding into the view that was shown, so it can changing the binding view back to false. You need to have okay. Showing detail is presented. So we basically can say this. I like this method better. Let's do that. So we can say that the settings view can be dismissed effectively by having a binding is presented, right? And yeah, and it will have a button. Let's say for now we'll have that. We'll copy the button right from there, like that. That will send this is presented to false. We'll show it like this for now. Read what? Does it have to be? Okay, it must be first in a form, I guess. Something like this, right? What is wrong here? No errors in this file right now. Okay. And because we are settings U, and the setting is called is presented. And we'll pass that. Yeah, there we go. Is presented column show settings like that. Right? There you go. What's there now? Let's close it. Debug. Failed to build the scheme. Missing argument for parameter is presented in call. Oh. Yeah. True. True. Okay, you know what? Let's kill this preview here for now. And then this should build, right? This our parent view should build and pass its own binding into the view. So when we dismiss, it closes, right? So now I do want it to be presented differently though. Navigation title. Must be a view, right? So we'll say that's text like this. State. Does that work? Type string, what? How did this become a string? Should it be dollar here again? bool is presented can be used in type private. Okay. Like that, or what? Insert dollars. Okay. Cannot convert value. Okay. Is presented dark. Is presented light. Let's try that. It has no problem doing it here. State, private, and so on. Or no, equals false. Equals false. And like that, right? Can we do that? What about now? No idea. No idea. So maybe this approach was better. Okay, let's remove that. Let's remove that. Let's set, what was it? Environment presentation mode and dismiss. And in the parent, we will not pass anything into it. Right? Feels like magic. Dismiss, dismissing. Dismiss, dismissing. And in here, will previews work again? Yes, previous will work again. Although dismisses will do what? Crash the app? No. At least they didn't crash the app. Okay, so now, instead of dismiss being looking like this, we can do button label text dismiss. Actually, we might want to just, instead of do dismiss me, we'll just say save settings on the bottom. Is that how we'll do it? No, we probably shouldn't do that. We should probably do that icon thing. Right? Like that. Label column. Let's say label title, nothing, icon. No, it was a different type of declaration for SF icons, right? Swift SF icons. I already forgot what I just learned. SF symbols. Label. Swift label. Yeah, something like that. Sorry, I forgot to show it to you. And if we launch that app again, where is it? There it is. Close. X. There you go. Circle. Maybe it's dismiss. No. The names of these things are not awesome. Is there a category? Home. Weather. Devices and tools. X mark. What about X? Just X. X dot circle is probably what we want. X dot circle. And what was it, that title? Title, navigation title. Settings. Navigation. Bar, turtle display mode. Something like that. Display mode, colon dot inline. That navigation bar title, can it have that X button on it? Can this be a view? Okay. Swift navigation view this close button. Bar items to navigation view. Here is what I'm looking at. So apparently there is a way to add a toolbar. So navigation title, and then we can do toolbar. We don't need this display mode thingy. We can just have this button there in the toolbar, and we have just string. Oh, come on. Like that. So navigation title settings, toolbar. Dismiss button. Okay, let's see if that works. There is a little too much space above the settings. Is that because it's a form? Or is it because it's a VStack? No, that should be on this one. So form. Okay, this can say close. Right? So basically if we switch here, and it compiles maybe, and we have settings, well, it doesn't say the word close. What if we do just text close? Like that. Yep, close. And if we go back here, open settings, close. Okay, okay. That's pretty good, pretty good. So if email is equal to something, that it can be a button, can we disable the button? Disabled $email, or just email, not equals quote, or equals quote. Cool. So if this value is empty, we want to disable the button. Nice. So gmail.com. Nice. And then it closes. So if we go to the main view, right? So basically we made a view where if you pop it up and you don't have email filled out, you cannot really close it. No, you can, but the button kind of disables itself. So maybe that's not the perfect way, but it's kind of okay for now. The last thing I want to learn before we wrap is how do I set text, SwiftUI text to be accepting emails. SwiftUI email input field. There you go. How to do this? Yeah. My current, what is a good practice? What is the good practice? What's the answer? I don't need to validate it per se. How did I do that before? So if you go to GitHub and open Note to Self app, our current Note to Self, and settings view controller.m, and we looked at email field. Okay, that was a GUI thingy. Okay, let's read this. Email modifier, clear button, font, padding, foreground, background, frame. I don't like that. It should have corresponding field input. Swift input, text input, email values. Yeah, something like that. Okay, he's limiting the characters. That's bullshit. Email input view. Keyboard type. Oh, there you go. Email address. Keyboard type email address. Switching back. We'll go back to the email field. Nope, wrong field. That's the field. Email field dot keyboard type dot email address. Yeah. Nice. So now when person tries to type, nope, it doesn't work here. Let's see if simulator will do the trick. Setting. Still. Okay. Let's stop that. Let's open it on a real phone because the pop-up keyboard should show up, right? And that would be the last thing we do today. Right, I plugged in the phone. It should change it to my phone real quick right here. No, it didn't change, but we can do it manually and we can run it. What? Why? Did we have this setting to be the minimum of 16 again? Again. What the hell? Let's do 12. 12.1. No, let's do 14. Couple versions back. Again, go back here. Minimum deployment, iOS 14, right? What if we say iOS 15? iPhone 14 and switch back to... Okay, let's reconnect. Maybe it requires reconnecting, and only then it will. What? Now it's complaining. Okay, you know what? 15 on both. Maybe that's what it was. No. Save. Reconnect again. Failed. What? This operation can fail if the development of iOS is compatible with the installed version of XCode. You may also need to restart your Mac and device in order to completely detect compatibility. Okay, you know what? I think we are wrapping up today. I will finish here, and thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining me. I know maybe it wasn't too many of you, but it was a great exercise for sure. Definitely helped me go over a few basics. So I'm ready. Whatever it was enjoyable for you or not, I wouldn't know. So thank you. I will see you next time I work on this project.